Whether Boise State Public Radio brings a smile to your day, some inspiration, or a greater connection to Idaho and the world, we're proud to be here with you. Federal funding, about $1.60 per person annually, helps keep these trusted services strong and accessible to everyone in our community. Learn how you can safeguard local public media stations like ours by visiting protectmypublicmedia.org.
Happy Monday, it's The Connector, February 24th, Idaho Daily News from Boise State Public Radio. Good morning, I'm Troy Oppie. We're diving right in this morning, and we start in North Idaho, where members of a private security company who forcibly removed a woman from a GOP town hall event in Coeur D'Alene this weekend may have been operating in the city in violation of city code. The Coeur D'Alene Press reports the woman, who was among those expressing dissenting views at the GOP majority event, was grabbed at first by Kootenai County Sheriff Bob Norris as he attempted to eject her from the event for disruption. Norris then called to the other men in plain clothes to remove the woman. The men did not identify themselves. They wore no identifying clothing or insignia. The Coeur D'Alene Press reports local GOP officials could not or did not say who had hired the firm, which city police told the press was Lear Asset Management. Sheriff Norris, despite calling directly for the men's assistance in ejecting the woman, said he had no involvement in hiring or directing the security firm. The woman, who told the press she bit one of the men in an attempt to defend herself from the unidentified attackers, is facing a misdemeanor battery charge. Coeur d'Alene police told the press that charge would be reviewed after investigators and the county prosecutor got more information from the multiple videos taken of the incident. The press also reports that city code in Coeur d'Alene requires security personnel at public events to be clearly identified. Coeur d'Alene Police Chief Lee White said Lear may not have been licensed to operate in the city, and they will investigate. The chief also said his officers declined a request by Sheriff Norris to charge the woman with trespassing because the event was open to the public, and, quote, that would be inappropriate. It was excellent in-depth reporting by the Coeur d'Alene Press. You can read more at their website, cdapress.com. At the state capitol, a bill proposed on Friday that would have required schools that receive state funding to gather students' immigration status failed in the House Education Committee. Julie Luqueta has more.
Republican Representative Steve Tanner from Nampa sponsored the measure, which would define 5 categories of students:
citizens, permanent residents, non-immigrants, undocumented immigrants, and refugees.
The proposal would require that data to be made public. When questioned about the cost to schools and how they would share the private information of Idaho's roughly 400,000 students, Tanner said he was open to suggestions.
It depends on how they do that. That could be a billboard.
Democrat Representative Chris Mathias from Boise said he was concerned the proposal would open up the state to lawsuits, and he questioned its purpose.
What we need to be able to demonstrate when we single out a population like this is we need to demonstrate a compelling state interest.
Republican Representative Lance Clough from Twin Falls worried the measure was unconstitutional.
I have a real problem with it. I just hope we don't end up putting yellow stars on a group of people.
A motion to send the text back for rewrites failed after a split vote. A second motion to send the measure to committee tied as well, which killed the proposal. Julie Luqueta, Boise State Public Radio News.
Also at the State House Friday, House Speaker Mike Moyle introduced a bill criminalizing knowingly lying about someone. A criminal libel statute would make knowingly spreading false information a felony, punishable by up to 5 years in jail and a $100,000 fine. The bill also gives the state attorney general's office the authority to prosecute such cases when libel is alleged against a state official. Libel, by the way, is a defamatory statement that is written. Slander is spoken defamation. Separately, Moyle Friday introduced other legislation that will allow candidates who say false information was published about them to report that to the Secretary of State for investigation. The bill does not provide candidates recourse if false information is proven to have been published, but the Secretary of State's office would publicly publish its findings about any reported misinformation. Both those bills were introduced by the House State Affairs Committee and could receive full hearings at a later date. Several Mountain West states in our region are exploring how utility companies spend their profits, with an eye out for reducing costs to consumers and creating more transparency. The state of Colorado recently implemented a measure to do just that. Yvette Fernandez with the Mountain West News Bureau has more.
Colorado's Department of Regulatory Affairs estimates ratepayers in the state have saved money since it began enforcing a new law last year. The law prohibits utility companies from passing on the cost of any political lobbying, corporate branding, and executive perks to consumers. Joseph Pereira, a deputy director for the agency's Utility Consumer Advocate Division, says Colorado now puts the onus on utility companies to be more transparent and prove they are not passing on such expenses to ratepayers.
So far, customers have saved around $1 million in obvious political and investor relations costs.
The idea has caught the eye of other states in the Mountain West, including Arizona and Utah. Nevada lawmakers are expected to introduce a similar bill during this legislative session. For the Mountain West News Bureau, I'm Yvette Fernandez.
The public defender team representing the man accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students in November 2022 is being shaken up following a series of rulings. Court documents filed last week show one of Kohberger's public defenders, Jay Logsdon, is being replaced as one of 3 trial lawyers in the case. The Idaho Statesman reports the attorney replacing him is a California-based DNA evidence expert who has previously testified for the defense in this case as a witness. That testimony was part of the defense effort to get DNA evidence in the case suppressed. Ada County Judge Stephen Hippler last week ruled that DNA and other challenged evidence would not be suppressed at trial. Logsdon will continue to be a consulting attorney on the case, according to court documents. The Statesman reports the prosecution is also waiting on an additional attorney from the State Attorney General's office to join its team, replacing a previous member who recently left the AG's office. The capital murder trial of Brian Kohberger is scheduled to begin in Ada County in late July. Professional soccer in the Treasure Valley is one step closer as county officials Friday signed off on a 30-year lease agreement with a private group behind the effort. Boise Pro Soccer plans a 6,000-seat stadium by 2026 with plans to nearly double that capacity long term. The project is part of the Phase 2 development of the Expo Idaho grounds, a 27-acre sports and entertainment hub, the group says, capable of hosting various community and entertainment events. The $150,000 annual lease agreement also requires Boise Pro Soccer to renovate and retrofit the existing grandstands and turf club at Expo Idaho. The stadium, which will go where the former horse track is right now, will be home to both men's and women's soccer teams competing in the United Soccer League, or USL. County Commissioners Friday approved the contract on a 2-1 vote, with Commissioner Ryan Davidson opposed, according to the county spokeswoman. In sports, Boise State men's basketball rallied from a 10-point first-half deficit to pick up a 1-point win on the road at Nevada Saturday, a critical win to keep the Broncos' hopes alive for a first-round bye in the upcoming conference tournament. The Broncos host Utah State this coming Wednesday night in another big matchup at home. And congrats to 3 high school girls basketball teams from our listening area for winning state championships on Saturday. Owyhee beat Boise by 5 to take the 6A crown. Parma took 3A, and Oakley wins 2A. Previously undefeated Middleton finished second in 4A, losing to Pocatello in the title game. And that's The Connector on this Monday morning. Come back and start your weekday mornings with us right here wherever you get your podcasts. Like and subscribe because that helps other people find the podcast and start their day with everything you need to know about what's going on in Idaho. I'm Troy Oppie. Our news director is Sasha Woodruff. Our digital strategy manager is Lacey Daly. And our general manager is Tom Michael. I'll catch you again tomorrow.
Each morning, it's a new opportunity, a chance to start fresh. Up First from NPR makes each morning an opportunity to learn and to understand. Choose to join the world every morning with Up First, a podcast that hands you everything going on across the globe and down the street, all in 15 minutes or less. Start your day informed and anew with Up First by subscribing wherever you get your podcasts.